Now with less code you can create UIs for your product. To show that, let me open this sample project front-end demo, and also let me run this project. Let's use the default settings and click on run. As you can see, this landing page was created using less code without writing any code. You can create professional looking layouts with less code. Not only you can create these kind of landing pages, you can also create forms including validation logic without writing any code. To show how this form works, let me fill in this form and submit it. Yes, and the whole thing was created without writing any code. You can also call any other third-party REST API. Just like in this example, I have used a REST API that has all the information about the countries, and when you click on an item on the data grid, it loads all the information about that country on the right side, and also the location on the map. Yeah, talking more about the map component was not actually part of less code. What we did was that we integrated Google APIs into less code, and in situations like that, you can also always integrate any third-party library into less code by writing some coding, so that you can always extend the capabilities of less code by writing some code. And also we are also experimenting with the WebRTC. Yes, we do have nice message boxes too. Just click on OK, and let me allow access to this camera. Yep, we also support will be supporting WebRTC in the future as well. So we can always exit this by clicking on the close button on the top right side. Now let me show more about how you can create UIs with less code. Yeah, if we go, if we just look at this UI, you can see that we can always configure or change the theme of less code. That will definitely help you with your branding process to have the right colors for your application. And also you can also load third-party scripts or CSS files to less code, so that way you can extend its capabilities. And if I show the home page of less code, and this is the home page or the landing page that I showed before. If we select any component or label that is created, that is on the landing page, you can always change its properties from the right side. That includes its position, margins, and also you can add shadow effects or gradients, and also those kind of things. And yes, and also every component here was created from scratch. To add some kind of a component here, you can always drag and drop it to any place, and you can click on that and always change its properties, and you can also delete it. And yes, that's how we have created the landing page. And if I show the registration page, as I mentioned before, it uses to a binding with the MVVM pattern. Yeah, if you are more familiar with the MVVM pattern, first you should bind different fields to different components. Different components. So for example, if you want to bind the email among different components, first you have to define it here with less code, and then you have to select the text box and bind the property email here. Then it will update the model as well. So similarly, you can bind password, first name and last name in here. And you can also add events for buttons or any other control. Here, for example, I'll show the event for this button here by clicking on new event handler. You can always create a new event, and the events can be programmed by adding blocks here. What we do is that we validate the form here. if the validation is successful, we are just setting some boolean values to show that form is submitting and doing that. And yeah, that's how it works. So for example, if we just click on this button, we can see whether the button is disabled, if this is like that. And also if I show you the data grid page, you can always bind the dataset using the MVVM pattern as well. If I show the fields that are created for this UI, countries and select a country, yes, and also similarly you can add events for this data grid, and if it is selected, this event is triggered. In here what we do is that we get the selected item and bind it to the selector country variable. So, and also like when the UI is being loaded, we call a REST API from the block. This is the endpoint that we call, and then we bind the data to countries. And if I show the WebRTC page, what we can do is that just to capture the video, what we can do is that we can create a video element here as we have already created here, and then on navigated event, we can use this block to capture the audio and video, and when the UI exits, we can always stop the video by adding this block onto the event. And if I show more about the blocks here, you can run JavaScript, and you can call REST APIs and do so many things, and we'll be covering all that with a series of tutorials in the future. And also, and if we talk more about the maps here, and this is the custom map component that we have created here using JavaScript, and using view components you can always create new components to less code. And here you have to create a HTML definition of how that component works, and then you have to define its properties. So like for example, here we have defined the position property here, so two-way binding will be working on that component. And once that component is there, you can always drag and drop that component to the UI. That component will be available under native components. So that's an overview of less code. So our beta version will be released in a few weeks, so hope you will try that out. So we'll be supporting more cool features. So at this point, WebRTC is experimental, so if things work well, we'll also be able to provide you that feature so that you can also create really nice video conferencing like applications. So, and thank you very much for watching, and thank you. Okay, bye.